Hello everybody. This 17-foot Boler has been in my family for well over 20 years now. It was my dad's and I inherited it from him. It leaked a lot in the early days, and the bottom of the cabinets are rotten, parts of the floor were rotten. But we kept using it. I just covered everything up with new white paint every year, and away we went on trips. But finally, the combination of the pandemic and retirement gave me an opportunity to dig in. So I just wanted to show you what I've been up to for the last 3 years. Thank you very much. And show you some of the results of my work. And also to help inspire others that may be considering doing rebuilds of the interior of their 17-footers. Also, people like Kevin Johnson, who I watched all his videos about how to disassemble a Boler, and others in the Boler community. Thanks. I've acquired a lot of ideas from different people. So without further ado, here we go. As you can see on this side of the trailer, I removed the heater, put a little plate over it, and then also added a 30 amp connection. Makes it nice and clean and tidy on the outside. On this side of the trailer, you can see I replaced the hot water heater with a Truma, and that's that vent on the bottom right there. And that small vent I'm zooming in here, this is the vent that replaces the vent that normally goes up through the kitchen counter. I'll show you a little more detail inside. In the front, I added breakaway for the brakes to add a little more safety, and I really like that little cover that you put the 7-way in when it's not in use. It keeps it nice and clean and tidy. I added a couple of those little hydraulic stays to the front vent. It makes it nice and easy to close it up. You don't have to undo the little adjusters anymore. Underneath the trailer, I added some Princess Auto jacks that are quite inexpensive on sale, and I bolted them to these gussets, which in the front are really nice because they give you a strengthen up the A-frame, which I've had cracks in the past. As you can see in this shot, I had to produce all new cabinets for the inside. I'll show you some of the details as we go along here, but the biggest thing to begin with is that fridge. It's a NovaCool 4.5 cubic foot fridge. Fits in the same hole as the old one, but it's a lot deeper than the other one, and of course adds at least another cubic foot of storage space, a little light and everything. It's DC, so it runs on 12 volts, and I've got some batteries to support that, which I'll tell you about as we go along here. The new cabinet for the kitchen with a convection microwave down below that runs from an inverter. I'll show you a little later on. I really like those stainless steel thin supports holding up the upper cabinet. And as you can see, there's no vent in the rear. That's that little vent on the side that comes from the gray water system. Lights in the upper cabinets when you open the doors up, and then you can see there's pot lights hanging down below the cabinet there. Works really well. Able to make the doors bigger in the upper cabinet and put lights in there as well when they open up. It really helps for getting at stuff. And I love that table leg there. No more manipulating the table to put it down at night. It's a hydraulic leg. It's got a button on the bottom that you push, and then you just push the whole table down. Plus there's a handle there that lets you manipulate the table around. It's really useful. I got rid of the upper entry to this cabinet, and then did this entry on the side instead. Much more useful. And instead of the little openings on the left and right side of the dinette, I put the whole thing as a piece of plywood, and it's got a little strut that helps hold it up there. Makes it really useful. Same thing on the other side, and you can see in the front there, I took the front part of that storage space and turned it into a shoe cabinet, and then the back is the normal sort of storage space for all the camping stuff and everything. I have a solar charge controller. It works from 200 watts of solar panels on the roof, and a 20 amp DC to DC charger that works from the vehicle to charge the lithium iron phosphate battery that I have underneath the kitchen cabinet. This table leg is great. It just pops down like that when you need to make up the bed. And then when you want to move it back up again, there's a little pedal underneath. You just push it and it pops back up again. And then when it's up, you can manipulate the handle to move it back and forth and twist it to get in the back of the table and all that. It's from Italy. I call it my sexy Italian table leg. And you can get it out of the U.S. luckily. You don't have to send all the way to Italy to get it. But yeah, it's been great. Makes it much easier to make up the bed. This shower head, it's nice and small. I used to have one of those oxygenics, but it just took up too much space. So it's a lot easier to use. And the grab bar is great when you're trying to get off the toilet. You don't have much space, and it makes it much easier to pull up. And then down below here, I made a little wooden grid, which is also really nice for when you've had a shower and you go in there, go to the bathroom. It makes it so you don't stomp around in the wet water and the water on the bottom of the shower. The toilet's new. The old one, the valve froze on it. But other than that, everything else is pretty standard in the bathroom. Put a power distribution panel in the same spot the converter used to be, and there's a transfer switch behind that transfers between the inverter and shore power. Here's the heart of the electrical system. The black box is a do-it-yourself steel box with 4 kilowatt hours or 304 amp hours worth of lithium iron phosphate batteries. On the left, you can see a 50 amp charger, shore power charger, and on the right is a 2200 watt pure sine wave inverter that runs the microwave and other bits and pieces. So the closet became a dual purpose space. I have a closet on the top with just a couple of hooks up top to put jackets and towels. Then on the bottom I added these slide outs. They're just on drawer slides with the containers, so it's really easy to load the food up into the boxes and everything. It works really well. It's actually something we used to use before we had all this fancy stuff. Bigger drawer underneath the fridge than the old conventional ones. There's a lot more storage space in there. And then on the right side, it's a combination of garbage can on the front and recycling bin on the back. Makes it nice and easy to deal with things. And then one more food storage container on the left side there. Compressor fridge is great. It actually keeps food cold in hot weather. No more warm beer. As you can see, I got my grumpy face on these shots. As the camera pans down here, you'll be able to see on the drain pipe on the elbow, that's where the vent is going to the outside for the gray water tank, so I don't have to go up through the countertop. This is a Truma Combi. It's a 2.5 gallon hot water heater and furnace. It's just fantastic. 93% efficient or better and super quiet. I just love it. And then the usual water pump underneath. Added a Rain Fresh water filter from Canadian Tire as well. Works great if you got suspect water. So I built the rear bed on drawer slides. You can see you got storage underneath where we keep our clothes, and then it becomes a bed really easily and just as easily pops up again to switch back into a gaucho. All the supports for the rear area are built on this channeled stuff called 80/20. The upper bunk now goes up and down. It's not the perfect mechanism, but it does work and it's super strong. You release a couple of levers and then the whole thing drops down. And then you can fold it out so you can actually turn it into a bunk. It's a lot safer. I was always worried about the old one, the way it was held up by the ceiling. Now there's 4 stainless steel tubes that hold the weight and go down to the frame. Works really well. And lastly, I can never figure out what to do with the space at the end of the gaucho here. So I put a 80/20 setup in there with a computer monitor that mostly operates as a TV. But I guess somehow you could use it as a monitor as well for a laptop. So thank you for watching, and hope it's been useful to people. And if you got any comments or questions, fire away.